What's going on, guys? This is John from PDC European Nights, or we can call it today PDC Concacaf Nights, as
Mhm.
we just finished the Concacaf Clasico between Mexico and the US that was played in La Perla Tapatía in Guadalajara. Estadio Jalisco, man, a lot of great memories. But enough about that. I'm here with the star of PDC, Rafa. What's going on, man?
What's up, John? It's good to see Mexico play. Like we were talking off air, it wasn't the prettiest of games, but at the end you can take away the result and Antuna's goal.
Yeah, yeah, man. I know I brought it up in the chat. How come he can't play like this in Chivas, or he should be playing like this in Chivas, which is true, man. They shown a lot of good level with Mexico with the under
Hmm
23, but you know, let's get it started, man. It was a pretty evenly matched game for the most part. In the beginning, Mexico was attacking, was getting closer to the area, not really too many shots. But, what do you expect from a game like this where both teams literally do not want to lose to one another? So, what was your take on it?
I feel like Jimmy Lozano made a lot of key changes. Like he made some substitutions. He made some players play in different roles. Like I told you, he moved Aguirre to the inside, and he was kind of wanting to float back to the left and play left back.
Yeah.
So there were many changes. I think some of it's just to try something out. The all important game is on Sunday.
Yeah.
So this game, yeah, of course you want to beat the US. It's a rivalry, but the game that's gonna count, win or lose or tie against the US, you have to win on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah. If they, how can I put it? Mexico had a moment where, you know, same frio in my eyes, up
Hmm
to the Malagon injury, which is unfortunate. I believe it was a Zelva, if I'm not mistaken. Up to that point, they got a little bit of cold. With
Yeah,
that, I think the switch, I think the guys, it got them a little bit motivated just for their teammate. So the NA announcers were saying that, you know, as Ascurado comes in the like 38th minute, if I'm not
hmm
mistaken, he yelled at Malagon, "Estoy contigo, cabrón." You can see that this is a very tight team, is a very tight group of young players. And after that, a US error that Antuna capitalizes and he scores it on the right side of the porteria. A nice shot.
yeah,
And, Mexico son de esos goles que les dicen goles psicológicos, because it's right before the end of the first half. And, you know, your rival goes into the locker room with a different type of mentality, like, oh man, now we got to come back and try to tie and then win, right? So
yeah.
after that little spark, man, the playing field got a little bit of it got pretty even in my eyes.
Yeah, I think Mexico played to the level of the US. I think up top, the US didn't offer a ton, didn't offer a whole lot. They were trying to play from the back, so the US, they stuck to that until their unfortunate mistake where, like you said, they gave it away and Antuna capitalized on it. Um, I mean, as far as him replicating that with Chivas, that's a whole different issue that we
Yeah,
can talk about on the other show. But here, like, Antuna's dangerous. Nobody could guard Antuna. Put him on the right or left, he was doing damage. Uh, the other things that I did like, I keep liking Johan Vasquez. He's solid center back.
yeah, he is.
Uh, Loroña, I like him too. I think Mayorga, he runs up and down the field a lot, but sometimes, like I was telling my brother, he's a little lackluster on the marking. Like
Hmm.
he thinks that he could catch up to players with his speed. Like he is fast, don't get me wrong, but if he could get better at his marking, he wouldn't have to use his speed so much. Uh, Esquivel is another player that I like a lot. But everything
Solid.
else, I feel like, yeah, solid. Like he's gonna give you the job. He's gonna get the job done. But everything else, I feel like they moved around a lot. I think Vega plays better as a nine.
A
Uh,
free flow nine.
yeah, yeah. Now when he's up there by himself. Like I told you, I don't know how you feel about this, but Alvarado playing on the wing is a little more capable. I think the attacking mid, uh, it's all right. I just like him more on the wing. And
Yeah,
as far as Aguirre, I don't know if he's actually a center mid. I think he's kind of really used to playing the left back position.
yeah, it's the left back to the left mid, and you can see that he struggled a little bit today,
Yeah,
right? And like you said, he kept trying to go back to that to his normal position, and that's fine, man. But with these games, you can't be doing that. Do it against the Dominican Republic, even Costa Rica, but this is a rivalry game, right? The media
yeah,
hyped it
yeah,
up. It's they're young stars versus our young stars. They're obviously the American media doesn't watch Liga MX to see all of these players. To us, this is probably, with all honesty, in about 3 years after this World Cup cycle, this is the La Mayor.
yeah.
We're seeing our future stars, man. And in my eyes, pound for pound, we got the better squad. We as in Mexico,
Yeah,
right?
as a like a complete squad, I agree with you. I think there's some US players that are, a little ahead of the curve right now. I'm not saying that they're, totally better, but like players that we know of that are playing overseas are a little higher level right now. But I think as far as a complete squad, Mexico is more talented and
Yeah,
more well-rounded.
yeah. And this is something that I agree with Danny, right? I know I defend the U.S., but today's rivalry week, and I chose my side, and mine is green, white, and red. So, I'm gonna hype them up. But other than that, man, it was pretty solid in every aspect. Um, Esquivel, that's a guy to watch out. I know the rumors are out that PSV is looking at him, and this is
Yeah.
what you want from these tournaments, right? We said it would it surprise us if a couple players get scouted or rumored to be somewhere else, and we all said no. I'm a little bit more surprised with Esquivel. I would have thought it could have been Charlie because Charlie's very consistent. Johan Vasquez has shown a great level in this tournament. You can't deny that. I know you and Danny have been bringing him up since the Monterrey, right? When he came to
Yeah.
Pumas to on loan.
Hmm.
What can you say? Tiva looked okay too. He didn't
Yeah.
look, and
Out of,
and I
out of
think
all the players that Pumas ended up buying that were on loan to them, I think the only one that they kept was Johan Vasquez, and good reason for it. He's a young center back, left-footed. He's not afraid of being the guy back there, and he can pick out passes as I told you in the first game. But yeah,
yeah, and
hopefully,
when there's corners, set pieces, free kicks and everything like that, he's there. He's up in the air. He's fighting for balls, and that's what you want. That's what you want. And I think him and Diva make a great dupla in the back.
mhm.
Uh, I believe they're both left-footed, so I think that's a little problem. I usually like to have a right and a left-footed player back there, but other than that, man, the defense looked good. They stopped everything, any type of danger that was coming into the area. Johan Vasquez at the end did get a yellow card, a dumb yellow card, with all honesty, getting in the way of the portero. But you see how fast the squad runs to the aid of another player, right?
Yeah,
There's a little bit of shoving and pushing, and that's what you expect with these games, right? A little chippy.
yeah,
But Charlie made a run like he was about to score, and he was ready to kick some ass.
yeah, he was. And then I think a little bit later he runs towards Julian Araujo too, and he tries to just make an impact, make him
Yeah,
feel that he's there. As far as the yellow, like, yeah, you're not supposed to block the goalkeeper, but it's not like I've seen worse where they're actually like trying to shift and move in front of the goalkeeper, not allowing them to
yeah,
kick off. So yeah, the goalie también se pasó. He shouldn't have pushed him.
yeah.
So I think there's wrong on both sides. But yeah, like you said, that's a rivalry. Some players don't like each other. It is what it is.
It's the nature of the game, right? Another one. What you think of the arbitro, man? I think que se guardó mucho las tarjetas. He could have had a little bit more of a controlled game in his
Yeah,
end. And usually
true.
we don't talk about the arbitro like this, but it caught my eye because Angulo made a great run, and this guy literally didn't even take a yellow. where you can see that they push Angulo, they push his arm
Uh,
out, and you know, it's something
uh,
that bugged me a little bit.
yeah, I agree with you. There could have been some more yellows handed out. This game was stopped a lot. I think in the first they got up to like in the first half there were 8 fouls each, 16 fouls in the whole game. In the first half, I mean. But uh yeah, he could have, should have, would have. I don't think
Yeah,
he made a I don't think he made big errors. Like he didn't like, give away a PK or red card. So, each ref is different. It's all right. It's not terrible.
yeah. Another player that I want to bring up is JJ.
Hmm.
He was a little bit cold today. Do you think it's just because he didn't get the ritmo from the first games that you know he's getting used to these players? Where with Costa Rica, he got about 20, 25 minutes, and
Hmm.
now he gets he gets taken out in the second half, but there wasn't really any impact on his end.
Yeah, I think it's a chemistry thing. I think it also goes down to his form at Chivas. But Chivas, he does have a good amount of goals. Don't get me wrong, but I think just in the functioning in the team, it's not there. As we're Chivas fans, we can see that he's struggling to find his spot on the field and is being forced to come down into the midfield a lot. So I think that has to do a lot with it. He's not in form at all. So yeah, cold, jitters, out of form, just not really um, maximizing his potential right now. So like it was good on Jimmy though to give him like a lot of minutes to try to find something.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
just how it's gonna be. You have to put these players out there and try to, they can be beasts in practice, but when it comes to game time, they have to function.
yeah, yeah. And you said Sunday. You know, if Sunday you don't win, it's a fracaso in my eyes,
Yeah,
right? Because
no doubt.
then you don't qualify to the Olympics. So
Hmm.
yeah, this is a tournament that the U.S. hasn't made it in 8 years now. They're trying to get back into it. So it's the pressure's on Mexico, man, to succeed because we could potentially see these guys in the final if we make it. Right? I don't want to count my chickens, but I think we have a pretty good chance of making it to the final.
Yeah, the good thing is that you're not gonna face the US in the semifinal. Um, the other good thing is that you won all 3 games in the group stage, so you get 9 points. That's step one accomplished. But like I said at the beginning, it all depends on Sunday, whether you win or lose. If you lose, fracaso, failure. You win, hey, it's the you completed your task. Like you could lose to the US even today, but you have to win Sunday,
Yeah,
no doubt.
you absolutely have to. With that, I know you wanted to bring something up
Just Mexico is gonna play on Saturday, I believe, the Selección Mayor
on the
against
27th.
Wales. So it's nice to see all the players getting along. You can follow them on social media, and I think they're celebrating with Berlin's birthday today. So it's nice that they got him a little cake. What I also saw is that Raúl Jiménez is there training with them at the gym.
Yeah, and you know what? I saw that too, and a big shout out to him for making the trip. It's just a moral thing, right? It's just hey, un poquito de ánimo. He hasn't been with his people because of this pandemic, right? He really couldn't leave uh Wolverhampton. So
Hmm.
with him coming to this, it's a good it's un buen, ¿cómo se dice? Es buen ánimo para él.
I think everybody. I'm sure his teammates, his friends are glad to see him. It's good for Jimenez to start getting into that gym, start getting on the field. Yeah, and it's good for us because we start recognizing that, yeah, he's a step closer to coming back.
Yeah, with Wales, it's gonna be a complicated match. A lot, pretty much all their players play either in the SPL, EPL,
Hmm.
and in the championship, man, and it's not easy, but with that, I think that we have a pretty good chance, man. We have very solid players in rhythm. We know that Memo Ochoa is probably gonna start the game. He's not gonna make the trip all the way out there and not get the nod. But I'm wondering how if Gerardo Arteaga gets the nod to start, right? I think it would be a good on that left side. I think it would be good for him and Gallardo to be switching off if Gallardo also gets the start. That's my
Yeah,
speculation.
it's gonna be a nice test. I think Wales played today. They didn't play so well against, they played against Belgium. Hell of a team. Was it Belgium?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Belgium held a lot of possession with. So we'll see how Mexico compares to them. Obviously, you can't compare, apples to apples because each game is different. But it'll be a nice test. Like you said, these are players that play at a high level at a very physical leagues. So you know, we'll see what Tata can do with this team.
And also another game to point out. I know Juby came into my department today during work, and he goes, "Hey, are you watching Turkey versus Holland?" And I was like, "Nah, man. Like, with all honesty, I forgot. I was very busy at work." And he goes,
Yeah.
"Yeah, man, me golearon a mi Holanda, a mi Holanda, eh?" And I was just
I didn't
like,
know that side of Juvie. But
yeah.
to be honest with you, uh, I'm not super surprised. This Holland team has been struggling ever since Coleman left. Uh, they're not the same Holland that they were when Coleman was there and Depay was on fire.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a huge surprise to me. Although I don't follow them a lot, but yeah, I heard there it wasn't sin.
Oh yeah, man, and it's good for the Turkish team, man, because they're also turning the page, and a lot of new generations are coming up around the world, right?
Yeah,
It's time for these young players to shine and show us what they got, and it's time to make the other stars. So yeah, with that, I'm not surprised. I also believe Spain played, if I'm not mistaken,
yeah, a good
or
amount of teams played today. I think I mean
tomorrow.
Portugal also
Tomorrow.
played today.
Yeah, it's the qualifiers for UEFA. So
Yeah,
well, we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. I know we got the Euro coming, so it's a lot of soccer crammed up in this summer,
yeah,
right? You got Copa America, you got the Euro, the Olympics. So I know PDC is gonna be pretty busy. So keep your schedule
yeah.
open, Rafa.
Yeah, of course. It's nice, eventually, like for us watching the qualifiers in Europe, maybe it's not that important. We can watch it from a distance, but when it comes down to the Euros, when it comes down to these big tournaments, we'll definitely watch.
Yeah, just to go real quick around the qualifiers. France tied 1-1 with the Ukraine. Norway won 3-0 against Gibraltar. Finland and Bosnia tied 2-2. Slovenia, Croatia lost to Slovenia. And yeah, man, Portugal, el equipo del bicho, staying in good form. And tomorrow we got a lot more games. But yeah, man, other than that, I don't know if you got anything else. Shout out real quick. And I don't know if you watched this game, but Celta Vigo versus Real Madrid. It was a dogfight, man. Real Madrid struggled a little bit to to put the ball behind the net. Celta de Vigo was right there, scratching, kicking at the door. Obviously, at the end, Real Madrid won 3-1, if I'm not mistaken. But Mr. Araujo, man, you can see that this guy, even though it's not a top tier team, he's still, out there battling it out with Celta de Vigo, with all these teams, and giving them a run for their money.
Yeah, it's a topic that we touched on the other podcast. Obviously, we would love to see, outstanding players at big clubs like Madrid and Barcelona, but as long as they're staying consistent and finding game time, earning that paycheck, they can come and contribute to the national team. So, you know, players like you mentioned, like Araujo, Hector Herrera, they can
Yeah,
bring a lot of experience to the national team.
there's rumors that Porto's asking for Hector Herrera back. His contract ends in 2022. So hopefully, man, he should look for some playing time, especially right now that the World Cup is coming up next year. You don't want to wait till then to look for another team. But it's just
But I was just gonna say, lastly, who would you want to face in this semifinal coming up for the Mexican Olympic team?
El que caiga.
El que caiga. That's the same mentality I had. Uh, I agree with that because whoever it is, you have to beat them anyways. But it could be, it's going to be the second place team from the other group. If it's going to be Canada against Honduras, whoever wins that game is going to face the US, and then one of the teams on the bottom of that group could come up and be the second B, or it could be the loser of that team of that game. I mean,
Yeah, I think if we face Canada, it's going to be almost similar style to the U.S.
yeah.
to where Honduras is it's a little bit more they're a little bit more physical. You can tell that les gusta entrar fuerte a cada jugada, and that's what you want to see, man. Those are the players that make you better sometimes
Mhm.
because your skill set really pops out when they're playing a little bit of roughhouse.
Yeah, of course. I think I stumbled upon Mexico El Salvador game not too long ago from a qualifier from I think from 2015 or 16,
Mhm.
something like that. And just seeing that game is so physical. They went down and played in San Salvador, and I'm like, dude, did I not watch this game? This game is like
In
very,
the
very chip.
Cucaclan.
Yeah.
Was it
So
rainy?
I don't think so, but still, like even the fans are hostile. Like
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't
it's
expect
it,
that. So
it's a hostile environment, man.
yeah, yeah. So I, I expect that. Not that they're dirty or anything, but playing as a Salvadorian team or what, Honduras team, these teams are coming to compete because they want to be Mexico, no
Yeah,
matter what.
man. Right. Mexico is the cream of the crop in the Concacaf, so
Yeah,
they strive to beat us, man, and it's always a warrior mentality where they put the knife between their teeth and they take charge, and that's good, man, because they strive to beat us. Obviously, when we lose to them, we get mad. We're like, hey, man, what the these are teams that we're supposed to beat. But sometimes when they get a little chippy or too physical for our taste, it's hard to counter that.
yeah, no doubt about it. But you have to keep on playing, no matter how physical the team might be. You have to find a way to unlock them and use their force against them,
Yeah.
pretty much. So yeah, no matter who it is, like we both agree on, they have to take that game, take it seriously, and be cautious with getting into the rough housing. But as long as they can pull out a victory, I think the final, obviously, it could possibly be the U.S. again. But after that, you can take it easy.
Yeah, and I think that if it's the US, va a ser un partido mucho más abierto of what we saw today.
Yeah. Or it could be a game where the championship and the bragging rights are on the line again,
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, you know what? Last game, let's do it. Let's beat them again.
yeah, and with all honesty, the semifinal is your final.
Yeah,
The semifinal is your final. You got to qualify, and I think we got a good group for us to see the next round, to see the final, which I think would be Wednesday, right? It would be on a Wednesday.
something like that. Tuesday or Wednesday. I could see it being on Tuesday just to get the players back. I'm not totally sure, but it's gonna be one of those two days.
La cruda va a estar pesada, man, para ir a trabajar. But to end it, last question. So far, who's the player? Who's your player of the tournament?
Um, bias aside, I think Cordoba has been the player for me. Just because he's contributed with assists and goals, and he finds a way to connect the midfield to the offense, and he
Mhm.
shows up in the box and he's scoring. With his legs, with his head.
Como caigan.
He's mixing very well with everybody. So for me, it's him. If I could, you know, talk about another player that I really like is Johan Vasquez, and the other player obviously would be Antuna and his ability to get away from players.
Wow. So I agree with Johan Vasquez in Cordova. I would take a different take, and it would be either Esquivel or Alexi Vega because just Alexi's just a free flow, man. That he shows you signs of like, damn, man, like this is the player we need you to be in Club Deportivo Guadalajara.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping Bucetich is watching this
Well,
because
we know Pelaez was there, so
exactly, and that's where I was gonna go. Pelaez is watching, right? Obviously, it's unfortunate because some of these players did get hurt. The dude that plays that's in Holland from the U.S. also got injured. He used to play with the Galaxy, Linus, something like that.
oh Yanes.
Giannis.
Yeah.
So you know these tournaments, yeah, your stars can potentially hurt, and these are stars in Chivas. So I'm hoping, and taking it back to Chivas, I'm hoping that Bucetich is watching and Pelaz is like, hey dog, this is how they need to play.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's another question for for the other podcast, but I just don't think they're gelling well with Vucetic. I think it's maybe a generational gap, believe it or not,
Yeah,
because obviously Jimmy Lozano is doing something with them where he's relating to them and making them play on the field. So obviously there's a chemistry issue there. Whether it sucks that Chivas might have to cut another coach, but whatever it takes, man, because these players are young now and they need to improve now.
yeah. Sorry, my wrist was hurting, but yeah, man. At the end of the day, that question will be for the other show. But sometimes as a Chivas fan, you have to air it out just because you see these players playing well somewhere else, and you're like,
Yeah.
Dick, you got to do it over here too. So with that, man, I don't know if you got anything else.
No, let's tune in Sunday. Let's hopefully they win. Whoever it is, let's hope that all the players play well, no matter what club they belong to at the current moment. And let's hope scouts are watching to get them out of here.
Yeah, and if we sell them cheap. But with that, guys, we want to say good night. Go follow us at Liga Mx Podcast on Instagram, PDC underscore Euro underscore Nights, and then on YouTube, PDC Podcast. You can catch us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeart, Google Podcast, anywhere you can get your podcast. We're there, man. You know, have a good night, guys.
See ya.